it's Raven is Kitty. Hope you're doing well today. So, today we are going to talk about feral druids in Legion thus far and my thoughts on it from a PVE perspective, okay? My thoughts about it and why I think there's definitely some problems there, some things that Blizzard should address, I wish they would address. And let's just get right into it, shall we? Alright, so I will be talking mostly about the decision. They decided to put Savage Roar and Incarnation, King of the Jungle, on the same tier. I feel this was a very huge mistake on their part, and at this point in the game, Savage Roar should just be baked into the class. It should not have been made a talent. I just think that was a bad idea. And the duration on it is much shorter. There was a time when it was up to 40 seconds. Now, there's issues with that. It's not impossible, okay? Because I've been a feral for 9 years, so I know the class. So I'm definitely noticing the changes. But it's difficult. It can be difficult, especially when you're in a raid, you're moving around, your Druid mechanics, to keep your Savage Roar up and not letting any of your rips fall off, or rakes or bleeds off, because if they do, you are going to be punished for them, and punished badly for it. And so the whole thing feels very clunky and slow right now, is the best way I could describe it. I'll always love feral. I mean, that's going to be my favorite spec, and I'm never changing. Feral for life, right? But they really need to look at some things, especially Jagged Wounds, because this is the go-to talent here. They did your Rip, Rake, and Thrash abilities deal the same amount of damage in 33% less time, so that really shortens the duration of your bleeds, but but it's a wonderful talent. I mean, and the others for PVE are not really that appealing. And if you're a raider and stuff, especially doing Mythic Plus, these are the talents you're gonna want. And of course, our blood talents that keeps you want to keep those up as a blood talent. Rip and rakes. You want to keep those up as much as possible, and it's just a whole lot to maintain. And it's doable. It can just be difficult. But I'm going to go ahead and show you our current rotation right now, and especially with Mastery being our, after Agility, our go-to stat. Mastery, then crit. It's definitely made things, it's all about your bleeds. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rotation for you, how it is currently. Alright, so we're going to open with Regrowth. And by the way, they replaced, used to be Healing Touch for this, but now Regrowth gives you Blood Talons instead. So we're going to go ahead and open Regrowth. Stealth, Break, okay, and then your Savage Roar up, Blood Challenge, Rip, Break, your Moonfire up there, and I'm just going to go ahead and go through it a bit, because it's it's doable. See, if it falls off at all, it's just a matter, especially when I'm talking here, so it can be distracting, but, and especially on a dummy, it's very easy to keep everything up, but when it's more of a situation when you are in a raid, and you have to move around, switch targets, do mechanics and things like that, and your Savage Roar is running off and everything else is running off, then you're going to have problems, okay? But it's a doable. As you can see, I'm doing it, but if any of them fall off, and I'm going to go ahead and purposely let it fall off, okay? See, let's say I had to switch targets, or I had to move out, oh, there's something there, you know. See, my damage is dropping very drastically. Oh, okay, now I can get back on the boss, let's say. So then you gotta ramp up again to get it back to where it was. And it's doable, okay? And I'm not saying you can't do it. It's just, I think they're making it too punishing. And they need to make Savage Roar last longer. Like, put it back up to 40 seconds, something of that nature. Or rework how it's done, and it really shouldn't be a talent. I really don't know what they were thinking when they decided to make that into a talent, because we don't have Incarnation anymore. So which is a burst, and we don't have the same amount of burst that some classes do, and we do have to work twice as hard as some other classes to keep everything up. So, alright, I'm gonna go ahead and stop there. But basically, as you can see, I was still doing very good DPS. But once you stop and things fall off, it drops pretty quickly. But so that's the problem here. Now. And that's another thing I want to talk about: Incarnation replacing Berserk. Not a good move. I think they should be kept separate so we have an extra cooldown. And I don't know why they decided to do that. They just did. But like I was mentioning earlier, putting them on the same tier is just wrong. And this should just be baked into the spec at this point. And Savage Roar really needs to be extended back up to 40 seconds, or removed or reworked completely somehow. I don't know, but with jagged wounds in the equation, this is what makes things more difficult and very punishing if things drop off. But this is the go-to talent if you are a higher end raider and do Mythic Plus groups. This is what you're going to want. And then I also want to talk about our AoE. Yes, I know our strength is single target damage. It has been, always has been. But our AoE is crap right now. It has been crap for a while. And that's bad, though. We have some of the worst AoE in the game. And there's a lot of things, especially in plus groups, Mythic Plus groups, it's a lot about AoE, getting through those mobs quickly, AoEing them down, beating that timer, and we really can't compete with most of the classes that all have great AoE. All we have is Thrash and Swipe that, they need to lower the energy cost on this, make it, or let us spam it the way bears can, do something to help us out. And now I know you can tell me, oh, well, you can just take Roll Slash. Well, you're not going to ever take that over Blood Talons, just because Blood Talons is always going to give you more damage when you're on bosses and things like that. So unless you bring some tomes with you to switch between trash and bosses, but even with Brutal Slash, even that is really not designed well, and the fact that it replaces Swipe, it shouldn't replace Swipe. It should be on its own, and it has 3 charges, and once you spend those 3 charges, you go to that next group, you're out of charges, then you have no AoE again. So it's really, yes, it gives a big burst of damage there. Maybe they can lower the damage some, remove the charges, something. They would have to just fix it some way. But yeah, our AoE is not very good, even with Shadow Thrash, and even with me personally, I did acquire the legendary that gives Thrash 75% more damage. Even with that, our AoE is not great. So, you know, we'll go ahead and do some AoE. So, it's not triggering. And you still want to keep Savage Roar up. So, it's just not, initially it can be good, but this is what I have to do for AoE. Still do blood talents, you still want to keep blood talents up. So, not horrible, but when it's more than 3 mobs, 2 and 3 mobs, and if they live for an extended period of time, then you're going to start, feeling the strain, and damage is going to start to go down, and we're just not really sustainable for things like that. So, I know, again, I'm saying, I know we are meant to be a single target. That is our strong suit, but they really need to buff our AoE a little bit. They need to do something about it, because it's just, it doesn't feel right. So, yeah, that's pretty much how I'm feeling. I mean, it just feels slow and clunky, and not overly rewarding, and the fact that we have to work twice as hard as other classes do to do the same amount of damage. But I'm not complaining, I mean, we do good damage. Ferals are ranking 2nd in damage right now, which is great, but it is, you do have to do a whole lot of work for it, and it's extremely punishing if your Savage Roar falls off, your Bleeds fall off. I mean, it's just very punishing. You need to address that, and I hope they address it some way. So, that's kind of my rant so far on Feral. Otherwise, we're not bad, and I'm always going to love Feral. That's never going to change anytime soon. I've played this spec for 9 years, and that's never changing. Anyway, so that's it. That's all I really have to say about it right now. We'll see how Legion goes. I know we're already in patch 7.1. I hope they adjust stuff later. But I hope all of you have a very happy Halloween. And if you don't already have your Headless Horseman mount, I hope that you get it. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye. Please like and subscribe, guys. Later.